Cześć and hello. That's the only word in Polish I can. Thank you for your interest, and I hope you can hear me well. My voice is a bit screwed already, so please give me signals if you don't, if it's too loud, too low, or anything. Exactly. I'm the country manager for the DACH region for EBE Tasty. Who is EBE Tasty? EBE Tasty is the European leader in testing and personalization, on-site or in-app. The company developed through a Google Analytics agency actually in 2009, and the founders looked for a tool to easily change website content, test it with the users, track it, analyze the reports, and make another suggestion for improvement. Since 2010, we've gained a lot of experience with large brands in different industries, as you can see, with that solution, and we help them optimize their conversion rates. And that's actually our mission. We want to make you, the clients, successful. How do we do that? I will speak today about A/B tests. I show you a lot of cases, but before you decide for a new tool, for a new campaign, for optimization, one question everyone has to face. How long do you think it takes for digital marketers to recover their investments in conversion optimization? What would you say? 1 year, 2 years, half a year? Let's show you one example from our client. Retail Me Not, it took them about 3 weeks with their first campaign to regain their investment in the 1-year EBE Tasty solution. What did they do? They wanted to better present their brands, so they remodeled the search result page and tested it and yielded a 14% increased click rate on the coupon codes they are offering, and in addition were able to reduce their bounce rate by 10%. Of course, you can say, it's a cool example. They show only the good cases, right? So 3 weeks is a really, really good example. But in average, we see across our whole customer base a return on investment on their conversion optimization of 10 times in the first year. How did they reach that? I don't want to put the solution in front here today. I want to talk with you about testing methodology. A testing tool can only be good if it's properly set up. And the most important thing for testing is to define a proper testing hypothesis. Then you launch the test, you analyze the results, and eventually personalize or launch another test cycle. I want to talk today mainly about the hypothesis and the analysis part. Launching a test and personalization should not be complicated. That's easy to do. So, to illustrate a little bit that cycle, I brought one example to walk you through that cycle. One client of ours, Photobox, they are a European leader for storing, sharing, and printing photos online. That was their previous homepage and website. And they set up the hypothesis with a goal to increase the registration rate, so clients should sign up for an account with them. What should be tested? They wanted to test the call to action, images, and text. And of course, this test should only be aimed at first-time visitors that have not yet signed up. And the idea was to say, okay, this is too pushy when the first contact on the website. Users first have to get accustomed to the brand, get to know the products, and build the trust to then sign up to an account. So they did a lot of testing around the images, text, and call to action, and this was their final best performing variation that you can see on the right-hand side that yielded a 14% increase on registration rate. Now you could say, okay, successful test, checked. What is next? But actually, what was the result? The result is that you have an increased registration with your first-time visitors. So actually, What it turns out to be is then a personalization that they set up to say, we know for new visitors, this version works best. We don't know yet anything about returning visitors, so we stick to the existing homepage. And now the cycle could start all over again, trying to test what is the actual call to action that I want to receive from my returning visitors and how to realize that in the best way. I'm not sure how many of you are doing tests at the moment. Ah, good. So about a third, 25%, a quarter of everyone. One question we always get from clients is how to get testing ideas. On one hand side, a lot of online marketers and e-commerce store managers, they burn with ideas. I mean, they come, oh, I think we could change that, or we should change that, and cool if we could try this, and the competition is doing that, which is a great pool of ideas. Do brainstorming, but then as well, look at existing data that is already existing in your company. Eventually, you have a Google Analytics tool, any analytics tool. You have usability studies. Eventually, you did customer surveys. Talk to your support team, customer support or call center. They have a lot of feedback where customers are stumbling when purchasing online. And the other position you could take on, which is often forgotten, is put the shoes of your potential clients on and try to reach those goals if you wander through your website. It's an obvious thing and might sound logical, but we know our own website very well, so we know how to reach the goal. And one case to illustrate this is from Pierre et Vacances, Center Parks. That's a large group, tourism group, that is offering local tourism in Germany, Benelux, and the France region. So they've seen through analytics that they have a large drop-off rate here at the search result page. So people are looking for a date, for a certain vacation, get results, and then they broke off. When the team really went through that process, they realized that the customer at that point in time is very at the beginning of the funnel. He's still browsing, he's not decided. And so the call to action, book now, sounds really committing, like give in your payment details and that's it. So they set up the hypothesis that this call to action is too strong. So they tested different wordings and ended up with the check availability that performed best and yielded an incredibly high improved click-through rate to the further funnel, which at the end yielded a 14% higher conversion rate. So, I mean, normally it's always, if you see the test results, it looks obvious. But then there's so many parts of your own website. For others, it may look obvious, but you're in constant struggle to optimize and get ideas. And sorry if I repeat myself, I come back to that hypothesis building, which is really crucial. A successful test can only be realized and measured if you have a good decision base at the beginning. So take some rule of a sentence and make sure that all of your test hypotheses are worded in a similar way so you can compare. And make sure you cover those elements like what do you want to change? How do you want to change it? What's the final goal? A primary goal or define several other goals? And of course, and this might be pretty obvious, what is your assumption? What do you expect to happen? An increase, a decrease, or no effect at all? Now I see a few faces like, why should I test something where I know or assume that it's a decrease? Why would I want to hurt my conversion rate? Let me show you an example where a client did that on purpose and what the result was. The client Conrad, it's a large electronic retailer across Europe. They went to a show, as you do today, to a conference, and they took home the best practice. Product videos increase my conversion rate. Cool. They went home, they did all the product videos, they implemented it on their website, and then they were happy. And then the testing team came and said, well, how much improvement did you gain through the videos? And I said, I don't know. Everyone said it's an improvement, so we did it. And so the team came up with the hypothesis, let's check for which product it really gives me a conversion increase and how much is that conversion increase. So they deliberately deleted all product videos from their product sites and tested the results. The outcome, as expected, was it is negative to the conversion rate. But digging into the data, they were able to identify product segments. There were segments for products where video did not make any distinction. So in this case, why spend money in producing a video? They had other segments where the video contributed up to 40% increase in conversion rate. So then they could go to the producing department or purchasing department saying, here, I need product videos. I know I get back that investment and I get even more conversion through a product video. So I wanted to share this example because it's deliberately hurting the conversion for a certain test phase to then in the future make better thought, cost-value decisions about moving forward and the e-commerce performance. Another test example, and here you have to work a little bit with me. Etam is an international feminine beauty brand, and they were testing product pictures on their website to increase conversion on those products. Now raise your hand. Who thinks that this version performed better? A few. Who thinks this performed better? A little bit more and some undecided users. So let's see the result. 0%, no difference in using this or that pictures. So, bad test. Let's go to the next one. No, this was one of the most successful tests Etam ran. Why that? People from the fashion industry eventually might know why. What is the difference between the two pictures? Sorry? It's the faces of the models, and that costs a whole lot of money. So with this test result, apparently not very spectacular, Etam was able to save an incredible amount of money across all product presentations across their website. Just to open your mind a little bit, not only think in increasing something, sometimes a no effect or a decrease can help you save a lot of money or optimize your conversion rate. What else? I want to go back, if you remember that hypothesis cycle, we started with the hypothesis, then launching the test, analyzing it, and then personalization. What's the difference between personalization and testing? Just so we have the same understanding. Testing, traffic split by chance. I pick 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, that's it, test. Personalization, I'm targeting a specific customer segment with a specific message. So I would pick out all female listeners and target them differently than all male visitors. Why that? The mobile age and our development shows that the customers are continuously more sophisticated. They expect the right message at the right time, at the right place that is targeted at their needs at that moment. But most retailers or e-commerce sites are still having one version for everyone. This is a kind of contradiction, and there's a lot of studies that show that personalization helps your conversion rate incredibly. So I want to raise that awareness and show then another case study that shows a realization of this approach. But first of all, I just give some ideas on what criteria you could base your personalization. I distinguished between female and male. You could distinguish by age, you could distinguish by access device, or by behavior. Someone clicked through several pages, yes or no. So how could that look like in a real example? Princess Tam Tam is a retailer. They have offline stores and an online e-commerce presence. Their challenge was to make sure they have the same promotions running offline in the stores and online on the e-commerce website. The hypothesis was that a communication adapted to user behavior will increase the conversion rate. So they had this promotion in the store running that you can see quite often. Purchase 2 items and you get the third for free. In a store, it's pretty easy to realize you have a person seeing you latest when you come to the cashier and want to pay. And so it's easy to say, oh, you have 2 items, don't you want to add a third one? By the way, it's for free. That's a promotion we are currently running. Translating that into the web is a bit more difficult, but Princess Tam Tam was able to realize it through our solution quite easily and say, okay, if I have a cart that only contains 2 items, show this pop-in or upselling window telling them about the promotion that we have and incentivize adding more items to the cart. A similar other example that I can share is the clients who use that logic to increase the shopping cart value. So everyone below a shopping cart value of 50 euros gets a certain message telling them about a certain discount or free shipping option if they add more items to the cart to get over a certain threshold. And that was the last example. What I want to close with is a testing manifesto that is not ours, but we are happy to adopt. Because that's finally what we are doing. I'm not saying this is right or this is wrong. I can share a lot of best practices and examples we did with other clients. And we are all here to hear best practices, to exchange ideas, take them all home, see what you can apply to your website, and then test it. It might work for your products, it might work for some of your product range, it might work for some countries. But go test it, base your decisions on objective data. And we are happy to help with that if you want on responsive websites, standard websites, or mobile apps. So we have a lot of time for questions now. I'm not sure.
Exactly. We have some time for questions, so I'm calling you, the visitors, to ask them. Who would like to start?
Oh.
Okay, so
quite impressive. No one has the voice any longer.
So perhaps I'll start. For testing, we have to have some kind of base of customers. How many of clients should we test? What number of our customers would be relevant? How many clients should we have in the base so that test will be significant?
Well, it depends on your targeting. So in general, there's a statistic behind it. So for statistic relevant results, you need a lot of traffic, basically. If you test on your home page, on the first page, the number of visitors to your website normally are sufficient. If you have a very detailed targeting, like you only want to show the test to a person who is for the 3rd time this month on your website, that comes through a mobile device, and that mobile device should be an Android version, then you're narrowing down your funnel quite a bit. That means normally the time a test needs to run needs to be longer. And then that's a relation between the traffic you have and the duration of a test. If you have a high traffic, several millions or tens of millions, the test
period will be shorter. If you have lower traffic rates, you have to run your test longer. How long should a test be running? That depends a little bit on the life cycle of your products and your customers. If you have high seasonality and your test is crossing such a seasonality peak, it might be screwed. So what we normally say is below 50,000 unique visitors a month, it's difficult to set up proper testing. You can do tests, but the test needs to run really long. And then there's different statistical approaches. Sorry, this is a long topic, but if you use, and most tools use the fixed horizon statistics, and then you need to have a certain panel, a certain time period, and you can't change anything with it. We use this model, but we have as well a second model to choose from, and that's the Bayesian statistic model that allows to take incoming data into account to calculate probabilities. And with the Bayesian, you're kind of narrowing down results. So then you can decide a little bit the window. If you have a few visitors, the window is huge. If you get more visitors into, the window of results gets smaller. And then you have a bit of a freedom to decide the window is small enough for me, I'm happy, I know it's positive, then I can stop the test. If the range is really huge and maybe ranging from negative to positive, then you need more traffic to get into. So with the Bayesian statistic, you can shorten sometimes the test cycles.
Okay, thank you. So are there any other questions? Okay, so...
Okay. I mean, I'm at our booth. You can come up and ask
which stand is
additional
it?
question. Right at the very middle at the back.
Okay. So,
close to the cafeteria.
thank you once more.
Thank you, everyone.